Right, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to EBN News at 1. Today is the 30th day of June 2023, which makes it the last day of this very busy month, and we have a lot prepared for you. Remember, you can follow this bulletin live on our social media pages on Facebook at EBN TV. My name is Victor Enzobeli, and to kick off this afternoon, we have an understanding that President William Ruto is at the Kenya International Conference Center unveiling the digital government services in conjunction with Safaricom. Now, let's have a look at what exactly is taking place at this moment.
Be accessed by people who don't have to.
That's great, Your Excellency, and we'll continue to work with the team. The final one is the communication itself. So we've worked with PHB Talk and the rest of the team in terms coming up with the comms, and you've talked about the channels that we can enable, including the communication. We are experts in driving brand. You know what we did with Hustler Fund. We can also support on this, and very, very happy to be involved.
Thank you,
Sana, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We now welcome you to the world of digital content creators. Your Excellency, these are among the 1,000 jobs that are being created by digitizing. Your Excellency, karibu sana. This here is Phil. He's a top film content creator, and he has an online radio show that is live already, Your Excellency. Ukiingia hapo sasa utakuwa live kwa studio akuuliza maswali mbili.
We are the people making a living out of the internet connectivity and digital content creation. And on this channel, we just have conversations with men and women who've achieved success so that we understand the path that they took. Tunataka kujua, how does one man out of 50 million Kenyans become the president of the Republic of Kenya? What constitutes, what's the DNA of such a man? Is it their upbringing? What virtues? What culture did you have? We want to know, how did you get here? How did you achieve success?
First, let me tell you, I'm just an ordinary Kenyan, like all other Kenyans. You don't have to be special, you don't have to be super, you don't have to be genius, you just need to be a simple Kenyan to be able to get where others get. And let me also tell you that we're all equal, both before God and before our Constitution. And you don't have to be special to achieve, or you don't have to be extraordinary to achieve extraordinary things. You can be ordinary, but still achieve extraordinary stuff. And being a leader is just like being an artist. I would also ask you, how did you, out of 50 million Kenyans, be the special guy that you are in your field?
Manzi.
So it's just all of us are special in our own way. All of us have talent gifted differently. Not everybody can be president. Not everybody can be an artist, a good artist like yourself. It is just the paths people choose. But that does not make you extraordinary or special. It's just that you have an opportunity. God brings opportunities across. Hard work, determination, focus, drive, passion, takes you there. But you have to be available to do what you must do.
Right, those are live events from the Kenyatta International Conference Center. That is President William Ruto been talking with Philip Karanja, and we will keep you updated on what unfolds in that event. Of course, you can see it's a lot of activities, interesting activities taking place right over there. And in what seems to have been a busy morning for President William Ruto, who signed day into law the County Allocation of Revenue Bill and Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill 2023 at State House, Nairobi. The two bills are critical in the funding of the counties in 2023-2024 financial year, which is set to begin on Saturday. County Allocation of Revenue Act allocates the 385 billion shillings to the counties. It provides that 4 billion shillings will be disbursed among the 47 counties equitably. The equalization law provides that 34 marginalized counties will receive 13 billion shillings from national government. This includes counties such as Turkana, West Pokot, Baringo, Kajiado, Bungoma, Busia, and others.
Appropriation Fee Bill 2023 and the County Allocation of Revenue Bill 2023. Sir, the first bill, the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bill number 3 of 2023, was passed by the Senate on the 15th of June 2023 and subsequently the National Assembly on 21st June 2023. Sir, the second bill, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 16 of 2023, was passed by the Senate on 6th June 2023 and similarly received the seal of approval of the National Assembly on 21st June 2023. Your Excellency, with both houses of Parliament having discharged their lawmaking mandate, Your Excellency, as the head of government and state, is most graciously invited to exercise your presidential prerogative to assent to the bills. With Your Excellency's kind indulgence, but permit me now to invite the following members of the executive alongside the parliamentary leadership to witness Your Excellency set your hand under the bills. His Excellency the Deputy President, His Excellency the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Attorney General, the Speaker of the Senate, the Speaker is not there, the Majority Leader of the Senate, the Deputy Majority Whip of the Senate, and the Principal Secretary.
Right now, moving on, the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, is on Friday today set to announce reviewed fuel prices. This following President William Ruto's enactment of the Finance Act 2023 on Monday. The Act comprises a 16% value-added tax on gasoline, up from 8%. Currently, a litre of super petrol in Nairobi is going for around 182 Kenyan shillings, while diesel and kerosene are selling at 167 and 161 Kenyan shillings respectively. President William Ruto has said the VAT increase on petroleum products was suggested by his economic advisory team, arguing it will give the government 50 billion Kenyan shillings. Right, we don't know what that means in regards to the high cost of living that is currently the Kenyans are still grappling with. Now, moving on from that, members of University Academic Staff Union have expressed discontent with the recently signed finance bill by President William Ruto. These academic staff members are deeply concerned about the potential negative impact of certain proposed levies on the academic community. They are calling on the head of state to reconsider these measures in order to safeguard the future of education.
University Academic Staff Union UASU members drawn from University of Eldoret have expressed their displeasure in the now signed into law finance bill by President William Ruto, while at the same time petitioning the head of state to reconsider some of the proposed levies.
Solidarity! Solidarity!
Led by their chairperson, Dr. Enzobeli Mogaka, the members revealed that their national unions will consider exerting pressure on the government should their demands be ignored.
So we are asking of two things. We can allow this taxation to take place as workers if we have increments in our salaries. So we are looking at if we don't have immediate increments in our salaries, then workers cannot afford to pay for housing tax of 1.5% and the so proposed NHIF tax of 2.75%, and the several taxes that are covered under VAT that are going to affect the communities in China.
Meanwhile, the university dons have faulted the proposed university funding model, which they will fail terribly since it lacks a proper structure on how it will be implemented.
Taxes, please increase our salary. That's what we are saying. Because in this country now, anybody with a pay slip, he is an enemy So, and the payslip is being depleted each and every day. So what we are telling the President and the National Assembly, please increase our salary. You can increase even our salary to 1 million. In fact, in this country, after independence, lecturers were earning more than even MCS, but even MPs. But now we are being taxed, and yet our salary is not going up.
The earlier model is far much better than the new model, because the new model, as I've said, it is going to categorize students from extreme need to those less needy. So it's going to disadvantage. So we don't know how they are going to say this person is extremely needy and vulnerable and so on. So it's
Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Mashogu has identified the economic state of the country as the underlying cause for the delayed and inadequate allocation of capitation funds. Concurrently, he has provided reassurance to teachers that measures will be taken to enhance the funding system for students, effectively addressing the current deficit owed to various schools.
I'm struggling and working hard to ensure that the figures don't come down. So I'm sure that the National Treasury will be able to cooperate, because we know the circumstances in which we are all operating.
Right now, Kenya Kwanza leaders are applying pressure on the opposition to abandon their campaign of defiance and seek redress in the courts. However, ODM chairman John Mbadi has expressed that Azimio has little or no faith in the judiciary, which he alleges has been given sweeteners. A bill to regulate demonstrations by limiting them to a given street is now being vouched for to counter the looming anti-government protests.
To have seen you ini Kamukoji ukitoka jukwaa, ungechukua hata wewe miguu uende kwako nyumbani, lakini kuambia Wakenya watembee na wewe unaingia kwa gari, unatoka kwa sunroof, gari ni ya serikali, kila kitu ni ya serikali, hiyo ni kubeba Wakenya namna gani?
Hata wakiweka sufuria kwa kichwa, sisi hatutishi. Na kama hawakututisha wakati wa uchaguzi, sasa hivi tuko kwa serikali, mnadhani watatutisha?
They are being reckless in their statements. What they should have done, they should have gathered their arsenals. They should have gathered their members to come and oppose the finance bill, instead of shouting outside parliament.
It is unfortunate indeed that for political mileage, the leader of opposition and indeed the whole Azimio fraternity have decided to start and playing trickery and lies to the Kenyans, telling them that we had any options. We do not have any options.
You have to identify, according to the bill, where you intend to conduct your demonstration. And you are free to choose whether it is Uraiwe, whether it is Kawangware, whether it is whatever. So you choose where you need to do the demonstration, say the time from 8 a.m. up to I think 6 p.m. It's okay.
Let us create a demonstration corner somewhere in Kitengela or Bomazia. Go and demonstrate the whole day. Don't interfere with the people's life who are going to work. I am supporting.
How do you control people's rights? You know, some people don't know what brought them to this parliament. The moment you start allowing them controlling you on how to do manamano, they will come and start controlling you how to eat and what time to eat in your house. These are human rights you don't control.
Still also have an option to go to court if there are convincing reasons why some of the provisions within that law that has been passed is so gross. They still have that option.
They know they don't have a case. That's why they are not going to court. They just want to cause mayhem and make sure that this country does not operate.
We start seeing some behavior like judiciary accepting what appears like a bribe from the executive, that now we are setting judiciary fund, we are giving you a bigger budget. Now you find judiciary trying to go to bed with the executive. That is very dangerous. That's not what our constitution had envisaged. Judiciary must restore back the confidence of Kenyans that we had started developing and building on the judiciary.
Right, and now moving on, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has directed the Public Petitions Committee to be submitting a monthly report of processed petitions to the House for progress monitoring. This is after it emerged that the committee is not doing justice to Kenyans who reach out to the August House for intervention on pressing issues as the last resort. The committee chair, Nimrod Nbai, was also put on the spot for notoriously skipping plenary sessions.
The public come to Parliament out of desperation in some cases.
Yes.
and you cannot receive their petitions and go and sit on them on air.
But it's a matter of concern, Speaker, that the chair of the Public Petitions Committee is never in the House.
Who is that?
The Honorable Nimrod Bai. And it defeats purpose, Honorable Speaker, for us to even be ventilating on petitions that are to go to a committee where the chair is forever absent from the House.
I brought over 6 petitions. Owen Bai, now being a minority leader, is very much in tandem with this because he was in the Committee of Lands. But unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, nothing has been done about these petitions. It's frustrating, it's demoralizing, and actually it makes as if you don't know what you're doing. The process of land grabbing at the cost is too immense. Honestly, what is going on right now, people move to Athi House, they get whatever papers, the next day eviction order is on the people who are sitting on that line.
I think this issue should be addressed expeditiously by the relevant committee, but not only this issue in Kilifi or Kilifi North. It's an issue that is actually the public is facing all over the country, especially the coast and other parts of the country.
Now, the National Assembly Education Committee wants the Ministry of Education to come up with an effective process of giving students capitation fairly and on time. Led by the committee chair, Julius Meli, the Ministry of Education has been allocated 1 billion shillings for the promotion of teachers. Speaking at the Kenya Secondary School Association conference in Mombasa, the committee assured school heads that they will formulate policies that will curb exam cheating.
Let the money that has been released reach the school account. I proposed as a chair of education that infrastructure funds be channeled through the student. And if that money comes to your school, maybe 5,000 per student or 10,000 per student. If you have 10,000 students, you have 10 million shillings. You will build a number of infrastructure in your exam cheating has affected both the principal and the student. In that, some of you who are very honest, who are actually don't like cheating, have been victimized of not performing. A number of those who cheat or who encourage cheating have been lauded and been praised. So this is where now we want to say we really want to have a very clear law, a clear policy on how to curb the cheaters and also to move you and promote you unconditionally. We need to remove the tag we have of national schools, extra county schools, day schools and all that. We really need to have one school system where you can be a chief principal wherever you are in that particular school.
Now, the county government of Nairobi has unveiled a 42.3 billion budget for the fiscal year of 2023-2024. While giving a blow-by-blow budget estimate at the Nairobi County Assembly, the county's CEC Finance, Charles Kerich, says next year's budget will be funded heavily by its revenue collection to cater for recurrent and development expenditures.
Honorable Speaker, the economic growth strategy underlying the budget for the next financial year and the medium term includes 1. Increased on-source revenue mobilization. 2. 3. Effective implementation of the development initiatives. 4. Effective implementation of the various county restructuring strategies and enhancing accountability by officers. And 5. Support for the private sector by reducing the cost of doing business. Honorable Speaker, to support the above growth strategies, the administration will be focusing funding and efforts towards the following key areas. 1. To reverse negative trend on on-source revenue, the Nairobi Revenue Act 2021 will be implemented starting with the institutionalization of the Nairobi City County Revenue Authority. Number 2, over-reliance on on-source revenue and exchequer releases has tethered the county to underfunding and underperformance. The administration will pursue a radical shift in other sourcing of funding, such as grants, donations, and public-private partnership. Thank you, Commissioner Mama Network. To support this, the administration has come up with a directorate to coordinate the efforts. 3, the county treasury will be enforcing the fiscal responsibility control, I beg your pardon. Number 4, despite meeting the provisions of Section 107(2)(b of the PFM Act 2012, the county has not been able to honor its obligation towards development. The only solution to this, with the reduction of non-essential recurrent expenditure and increasing county revenue to accommodate non-discretionary expenditure. And 5, the administration will be reducing the cost of doing business by actively implementing the Unified Business Permit and implementing the Trade Licensing Act.
Right now, the government is fast-tracking efforts to green the transport sector in efforts to transition the country to clean energy. Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir announced that in the next 3 months, the government will be accelerating the passing of the Environmental Carbon Credit Bill in Parliament.
There is an environmental carbon credit bill which is currently in Parliament. Is the carbon credit. We should be able to see how to even improve the pricing when we get to the carbon credits, because we are basically moving from solar to the vehicle and really managing our carbon footprint. And that way we should be able to see a fairly competitive front in green energy, green mobility, and greening the environment. This is what we are basically seeing today.
There is a very clear policy direction to move to e-mobility in light with our commitments on the Paris Agreement and in light of Kenya's commitments also to reduce our carbon footprint. We're already doing very well in terms of our energy mix. When it comes to economic regulation, we have already taken active steps as the regulator. We did in March approve our
Right, and now Food and Agriculture Organization FAO is increasing efforts to combat the effects of fall armyworm in Kenya and Africa by supporting farmers to fight the pest and protect crops through integrated pest management. Kenya is among 8 demonstration countries that have been identified for implementation of the Global Action for Fall Armyworm Control by FAO. Fall armyworm is a ravenous transboundary pest that targets maize and other food crops such as sorghum, millet, and sugarcane. The insect originated in America and arrived in Africa in 2016 and has spread to 80 countries in Africa, Near East, Asia, and the Pacific Ocean region in a span of 6 years, according to FAO Director of Plant Production and Protection Division, Juan Xia. Speaking in Embu on Wednesday during a visit at a demonstration farm at FAO and various farmers groups, the director said some of the techniques that farmers were being trained on include use of biopesticides and nature-based solutions.
For armyworm, now they become very important as the limiting factor for food security globally. We can say one of the top 10 important insect pests to threatening food security globally. And now the fall armyworm and arrive here in Africa. So to deal with this big important plant pest, FAO initiated a global action on fall armyworm control. And this global action, and we identified 8 demonstration country, facilitate 80 countries to take action. And Kenya is luckily, and you should be proud, Kenya is one of 8 demonstration countries to lead in the process for global control of fall armyworm. Through all these 3 years global action, I think in Kenya and other countries, we already developed some very good control strategy for fall armyworm. I think there's 4 important components. Number 1, community-based monitoring strategy. This means the farmer be engaged for monitoring. Second one, threshold-based control, and some countries mention about 20% damage to start control. Number 3, bioecological-based control measures.
Right, and now welcome to sports news. Let's have a look at what is taking place in that world, where Manchester United are now set to pursue transfer deals for a new goalkeeper and a striker after agreeing a fee with Chelsea for Mason Mount. The England international is set to move to Old Trafford for a fee worth £60 million, but Eric Ten Hag wants more reinforcements as he targets Premier League title glory next season. Manchester United had spent the first few weeks of the summer chasing a deal for Mount, and they managed to finally strike gold on Thursday, having previously seen 3 bids for the England international turned down. United are happy with their deal for Mount, believing the 24-year-old has the potential to shine alongside Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in the middle of the pack. Right, and the sports news wraps it up for us. Thank you very much for making time to join us this afternoon. It has been such a pleasure. Of course, don't go far for more updates on current affairs. Emmanuel Mara will have prepared for you plenty at exactly 4 p.m. with the Swahili Bulletin. For now, enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Victor Enzobeli.